Hi, this is Kevin, and I am a strategist at Cubicle Fugitive. In this video, I'm going to be talking about resources, specifically news items. And I'm going to be creating a new news item, but instead of using the create function, I'm going to duplicate a pre-existing news item as a starting point. So I'm going to use this one here, news item 4, as my starter, and let me show you how to duplicate it. So let's go into the Sitefinity backend, and from the dashboard, we would want to go to content and then news items under resources and insights. And this takes us to a list of all pre-existing news items on our site. So now we can select which one we're going to duplicate by clicking on the checkbox at the front of its row. And then the actions menu appears. And underneath in it, we find duplicate. Just to show you another way over on the right side of the row, there's the 3-dot action menu link there, and that brings up the same menu. And again, I'll select duplicate. Now, this looks like we are editing news item 4, but we are actually creating a new news item. It's just that all the content from news item 4 is here as a starting point. And I can tell I'm creating a new by looking in the upper left-hand corner. It says creating a news item. If I was actually editing the news item 4, it would say editing a news item. So the first thing we'd want to do with this new news item is create a new title. So I'm just going to change the name to test news item 5. And then we have the ability to change the news type. Right now it is firm news. Now, a little recommendation, a little tip would be to duplicate a previous news item that is of the same type as your new news item, so that you don't have to make these changes. So I'll leave firm news as is, and then we have the main content. And just to make sure that this news item looks different than the previous, I'm just going to place some new lorem ipsum text in this field, as you can see. Then we have the ability to put a summary. And again, I could leave this blank, and Sitefinity would defaultly show the first couple hundred characters of the main content if our website was ever displaying summaries, perhaps on the list page. Next is the featured item checkbox. You could click this to elevate this new news item to be featured on your homepage or at the front of the list of news items. Perhaps by default, though, your news page is already set up to show the most recent news item first. So you might want to only click this if it was an especially important news item that you wanted to make sure would remain at the top, even if somebody posted another item soon after it. But I'll leave that unchecked at the moment, and then we'll keep scrolling. You have the ability to add an external source for the news item, perhaps a link to another site that the article was actually from. I didn't have that on the previous news item, and I'll skip it again here on this new news item. Next is the related content section. Now, you can see some items already filled in here, and those would be that would be the related content from the source news item that I have duplicated. So you might not have to change these. Depends on how selective you were in choosing your starting news item to duplicate. Perhaps this news article also features Berta, but let's say Donata is not, so we could remove her by hovering over her name until the X appears, and then click that. Related expertise, same thing. I could make some changes, or I could add more. And same with related sectors. I could relate this news article to a sector. Then we have the related media section. And as you see right now, this is the image from the original news item that I duplicated. And I'll want to change that just to differentiate this news item. So I'm going to remove that image by hovering over and clicking the X in the top right corner. And then I'll find a new image by hitting the plus sign. And then I'll browse my already existing images in my test library. pick the ice cubes this time. I could then have a related document available for download with this news item, but I'm going to skip that at this time. Same with search engine optimization fields. We get into that in some other videos. Next is the classification, categories and tags. I could change these if needed, or perhaps they are correct because I picked a good starting point news item to duplicate. And there you see the URL. You'll want to make sure this is definitely changed to not be the same as the previous. And then I'm going to go ahead and save this as a draft so I can preview it. Here's our new news item preview. You can see our content and our related people, expertise, industries, etc. So that looks good. I'm going to hit publish on this new news item, which makes it live. And then I'm going to go back to my live site window, my demo site. I'm going to refresh this page just so you can see the new news item. And there it is, the test news item 5 with the ice cubes. Created today. There we go. That's how we create a new news item by duplicating a previous one using the Sitefinity CMS.